I'm Sandy Charles with Fan Nation Now, and I'm joined by Max Torres. He's with Ducks Digest. Max, breaking news: Oregon head coach Mario Cristobal will be leaving and taking the Miami job to be their new head coach. Why would Mario Cristobal leave the Ducks now?
That's the $1 million question, Sandy. I think if you look at this situation and kind of everything that's at play right now, you look at obviously the most apparent one, and it's Mario Cristobal being a former Hurricane himself, having won national championships in Miami and starting his coaching career there as a grad assistant. I think that's definitely a big part. The whole concept of the idea of resurrecting the Miami program and bringing them back to national prominence, something that they haven't experienced in just about 2 decades. So I think that's a huge part of it. And then obviously, kind of hand in hand with that, being closer to home. There's always been that draw. People thinking about Miami and Alabama being the two jobs that he would potentially leave for since coming to Eugene, obviously with his former Alabama ties. And, people wondering how long Nick Saban's going to be coaching there. And then, like I said, with the whole alma mater thing with Miami, I feel like that is probably why. And then another part that we might be talking about later is just being back closer to that elite recruiting talent that he is has so fiercely coveted during his time at Oregon.
What does this mean for the Oregon Ducks now with no Cristobal?
Yeah, that's a huge question for sure. Looking at the immediate future, the Ducks were selected to the Valero Alamo Bowl to face Oklahoma at the end of this month. Another program that has some holes to fill, obviously with them hiring Brent Venables. That's a huge move for them. So on the field, that's the most pressing matter. But I think that the biggest thing really turns now to the early signing period. Ducks have the top recruiting class in the Pac-12, at least as of right now. But it looks like they really could be in line for some major recruiting fallout, as well as potentially some transfers from the program internally, seeing that Cristobal is going to be on the move now. So I think that's kind of what it means for the Ducks. And then you also have to think about who's going to follow Cristobal to Miami from the staff. Who does he want to take with him? Who's going to stay at Oregon? Who does Oregon name as the interim?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the future of the program really, it was hanging in the balance while we were waiting for a decision. But Oregon's got to act fast now because they get hit with the coaching carousel at a really weird time, and many of the top names are already signed at new schools or re-signed at the places that they were coaching this past season.
Now, you've been fortunate to cover Mario Cristobal and what he has brought to Oregon. So now, what should Miami fans expect from Mario Cristobal?
Yeah, Miami fans should expect an elite recruiter. He's one of the best in the business. He won the National Recruiter of the Year award. I believe it was in 2015 when he was still on that staff at Alabama, and he's only continued to elevate his profile as an elite recruiter during his time in Eugene, going all across the country to find the best recruits to build his program. And the effects of those recruiting labors have really shown up on the field during his time at Oregon. Talk about winning 2 Pac-12 titles, that win over Ohio State. I think that you can point to a lot of the recruiting efforts as a reason that they were able to pull that off. Really historic win. And then a guy who is among the best in the business at developing offensive line talent. He talked about who he's going to bring with him. I would think that Alex Mirabal is probably going to be somebody that he would want to take with him. They have a really long-standing relationship. He's also a Florida native, and he's lauded him as the best in the business from day one. So elite recruiter, elite offensive line coach, and then also someone who has a pretty good history of making some pretty big hires at Oregon that have, for the most part, worked out for the Ducks.
You've touched on recruiting a lot, but with early signing day right around the corner, how will this impact Miami and Oregon, in your opinion?
Yeah, those effects are going to be pretty big, I think, for both programs. And I think that that's part of the reason that we saw this move made when it was made. Because if you're looking at it from a Miami perspective, I mean, the whole thing that went down with Manny Diaz was really unprecedented in this whole coaching carousel. But they want to get a name in at Miami, have someone that can sell to these recruits. He's here, he's homegrown. They want to get back on track, capitalizing on all that talent right in their backyard in one of the most talent-rich states in the country. So for Miami, you want to get your big name in there and have someone that you can sell to recruits to drum up excitement, and then obviously have faith in, this is someone you're going to be playing for in these next years. He's from here, so he's looking like a more long-term option, at least right now. And then for Oregon, I think that a lot of these recruits are faced with a huge uncertainty, and that's why Oregon needs to act fast. They were just on the recruiting trail. Cristobal and his assistants were seeing some recruits, so I think that that's going to be something to follow because I think one of the big points of this is you have the job and you're doing that job until you don't anymore. So what to make of that past weekend of Cristobal and his assistants being on the trail, and how much ground did they actually make up, or is all that work for nothing, seeing that he's gone now at a new stop?
Do you think, or how do you think Lincoln Riley leaving Oklahoma, going to USC, how did that impact, or did it impact Mario Cristobal leaving Oregon and going to Miami?
That's a great question, and it's hard to say for sure. But when you look at the coaching carousel that we've seen this season, I feel like he was really the first, if not one of the first, real big dominoes to fall in this. It was pretty unexpected, and USC has been looking for a big name to resurrect that program to its prestigious history, much like Miami has been for quite a while now. So I think Riley is one of the elite recruiters in college football, certainly one of the biggest names in the sport, one of the best offensive minds who has proven that he can develop talent, especially at the quarterback and skill positions. But when I'm looking at this situation, I think for Cristobal, if he's trying to get a national championship, I feel like the path would be easier in the Pac-12 versus the ACC, just because the conference has been so mediocre for many years, and Oregon was really establishing itself as the top team in that conference. And then you look at the ACC, you have a school like Clemson that obviously has had a bad year, but when they're really humming, I think that they're probably a tougher team to defeat than USC, at least in recent years. And then Florida State is obviously another one of the story programs in that conference, but they've been a total mess. And now you have North Carolina as well. You look at Mac Brown; he's doing a tremendous job on the recruiting trail, but they might be one of the teams that is the most underwhelming in the 2021 season. So could have played a factor, but hard to know for sure. That's my 2 cents on it.
And recruiting is everything in college football. So it's going to be interesting to see how the next dominoes fall. As always, Max Torres with Ducks Digest, breaking down this breaking news of Mario Cristobal going to Miami. I'm Sandy Charles with Fan Nation Now, and we'll see you next time.